If you're a life path 4, you are governed by the planet Rahu, which represents a demon's head without the rest of his body. Rahu is the planet of illusions, worldly desires, and obsessions. This makes a life path 4 a very obsessive person, and because Rahu is the planet of illusions, 4s have very irregular personalities. These people are very different from everybody else, and they stand out like a peacock. A lot of 4s are extremely tough because they're always fighting all the time. They always gotta stand up for themselves, and a lot of them find themselves in debates with everybody because nobody gets along with them and nobody agrees with anything that they say. A lot of 4s find themselves being socially outcasted because they don't get along with anybody. They don't really like people. They're recluses. A lot of them stay at home all the time. But one thing I will say about every 4 is that they are geniuses. Because they are so cerebral, because they're so logical, and because they're so obsessive, every single 4 has a skill set, something that they're so good at that they could make that a career, and they could be very, very successful at it. Every 4 is very, very knowledgeable in their field, and they take their job and their career very seriously. A 4's career is their religion, and because of this, 4s are very promising in their field of work. They can do pretty much anything, but a lot of them find one thing that they're deeply obsessed with, and they end up building towards that one thing for the rest of their lives. So 4s are some of the most successful people on this planet. Some famous 4s is Billy Carson, NBA Youngboy, Kevin Gates, Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, Mike Tyson, Brad Pitt, like the list just goes on. Some of the most successful people on this planet belong to Life Path 4. The most important thing to a 4 is security. 4s crave security. So you won't find a 4 that's just like getting a new girlfriend or getting a new boyfriend every other day. These people will find that one person and just build a very deep, complex relationship with that person, and they'll stay married with that person for the rest of their lives. But one thing about 4s is that because they need security so much, they're very controlling in their relationships. They're very controlling, like, to their family, very controlling to their friends, very controlling with their partners, and it's because they have that deep craving for security. One issue that they struggle with is that they don't really understand their emotions, and they don't really like to share how they feel. A 4 will never, ever, ever tell you how they feel, and you will never know how they feel. Because 4s have a very good poker face. They never show their emotions, and they're really good at compartmentalizing and controlling how it is that they feel. They're very logical, and they just don't really see the value in their emotions. A lot of 4s just channel all their emotions into their work, and they use their emotions into their obsessions, and that's how they deal with their emotions, or their emotional regulation. Another thing I'll say is that these people are extremely loyal. They will never cheat on you ever. It's very hard to get into a 4's heart. But once you're persistent and you're consistent, and a 4 realizes that, like, you're trustworthy, then they'll open up to you. But 4s are they're very pure in heart. Like, they take right and wrong and reasoning very seriously. So they're very judgmental people because of this, and they're also perfectionists. So a lot of 4s, one of the biggest issues that they struggle with is that they never really find somebody that's pure in heart as they are, and never really find anybody that's so dedicated and devoted to being the best person that they could be, like, moralistically. These people are very helpful with their families. They can never really say no to their loved ones and the people that they care about, and they're like as reliable as a grandfather clock. 4s are very reliable, and they're very helpful to the people that they care about. But one thing I will say is that they don't really do good with having, like, emotional intelligence. They always step on other people's toes because they're super blunt, and they say things like straight how it is. They never water anything down. They say exactly, like, if you ask for their opinion on something, or like if you like their outfit, they'll tell you the exact answer. They're very honest, and they hate lying, and they also hate liars. If a 4 catches you lying, they're gonna just cut you off forever. Like, they don't play that shit. 4s are very calm, relaxed people, but they're stern. A 4 can tolerate something for a very long time, and what a lot of 4s have an issue with is they don't share how they feel. So if you hurt their feelings, they're not ever going to tell you. What they do is they'll just store up all of that anger, and when they can't take it anymore, they just explode. And so this is why 4s seem to be unpredictable, but they're not. It's not that they're unpredictable. It's just nobody knows what they're feeling or what they're thinking on the inside. So it's like, just try to be respectful. Just show a 4 the same respect that they show for you. And the last thing that I forgot to mention is that they're very fixated and very stubborn. They hate change. You will never, ever convince a 4 to do something that they do not want to do. If you keep trying to convince them and you keep trying to push them to do something that they don't want to do, they're just going to keep digging their heels into the ground. They're very much like Tauruses. They do not like change. And if you have plans for them, they need to know in advance what they're getting into. They don't really like taking risks, and they're very cautious and careful in whatever it is they do. So 4s, they need that stability and they need that security. So it's like they don't really do well with people that are always trying to travel all over the time, and people that are just like a different, like people that have like multiple personalities and they're a different mood every single day. 4s like predictability. Like they hate change and fluctuations. So a lot of them like tend to be very boring, and they're people of routines as well. 4s thrive on routines. So they need to be with somebody that is okay with consistency and stability. Like they're more of they're more of like that stabilizer. And they're not really like exciting. They're excited about the stuff they're excited about, like their obsessions, but then they're not gonna ever entertain you. Like a 4 is never gonna entertain you. So if you're looking for that partner that gives you validation and entertains you, and it's always like giving you excitement, a 4 is not the type of a person. They're just gonna be somebody that's gonna hold it down, and they're gonna be somebody that like they're very reliable, and they're gonna be somebody that like just takes care of you. That's more of like their role. They're not really that person that's just gonna like just overly validate everything that you do. They're more of like that grandfather clock. But if you want to learn more about the life path 4, if you want to learn about the specific type of life path 4 that you have, or if you have a different life path number, if you'd like to learn about your psychic number, your name number, your solar number, your personality number, if you want to learn how to see into your future by learning how to use the personal year vibration calculation, click link in my profile bio and read my book, Supreme Mathematics, a complete guide on Chaldean numerology.